Hello and welcome back to Sacred Vapes, channel that aims to bring you the views and experiences of products in the market today, brought to you by an average vapor. Now this week, after the little bit of a hiatus last week, I'm coming back with something big, in both metaphorically and literally. It is the return of the king, the Smok TFV16. Now, I'll go through the little bit of a history with the TFV series. It's a bit of a strange one. Going back as far as 2015, Smok released the TFV4. Now, that was meant to be an answer to the likes of the Crown, to the Atlantis, to Triton at the time. You know, the first sub-ohm tanks. They released the TFV4, trying to one-up them with the 4 coils inside. And to be honest, everyone bought it, but it wasn't very good. The coils just burnt out quite quickly. So they moved on a year later and brought out the absolutely massive TFV8 tank. I mean, I was a massive fan of that. You know, you could push a coil over 100 watts. You're looking at 150 watts. I think my 140 was nowhere near the limit. But yeah, it was an incredible tank. The coil performance improved massively. And even going back as far as the coil life was much better improved. That's where you got the baby beast, the small version of it. And then another year passed, so this would have been, 2017, they released the TFV12. But the strange thing about the TFV12 was that they seemed to abandon it quickly. Almost instantly they released it, and I think it was within a few months the Prince tank release, and then beyond that, you know, you may not remember the TFV12, but you do remember the Prince. So that's what makes it a little bit strange. But the TFV16 is back, aiming to be the king of the cloud beasts once again. Is it any good? Well, we'll get talking about it. We'll go into the up close, but first, let's give her a vape. So welcome to the unboxing of the Smok TFV16 tank. Now, what you get is now atypical Smok packaging. It now seems to be coming through as white. So on the side, you get features, pretty much promoting it. On the back, you just get instructions. You get your, contents on that side, scratch code, little Smok authenticity, and that's about it. So we'll get her open, and there you find the tank, the size of that tank. We'll get talking about that in a minute, but we'll go into what you get underneath. And you get a little bag with a spare O-rings and the filling pour thing at the top. You get the instruction booklet. You get warranty card, and inside here you get tank protector. You get her out, spare coil. Now this is the 0.17 coil, and you get a spare straight glass. That's pretty much what you get inside the box. Let's get talking about the tank now. Now the tank itself is a 9mm capacity tank. Comes with replaceable 810 drip tip and bottom adjustable airflow. As I say, it comes with the bubble glass top fill system. It's much like the other Smok tanks in terms of you press this and you push back to release, and you get a nice big fill hole there to fill it up. Now to get her open, simply screw the bottom off. Here we go. There's your coil. Now what I will say, I will show you guys before we move on. This is a 0.15 coil. Flip it around. Sorry, 0.12. Slightly off. Now the other coil that I showed in the box, that's recommended at 120 watts. In fact, both of them are, but this one is the one that essentially can push up to 160 according to the coil. But yeah, the reason why I want to quickly show you this is that base. Now, it's not a standard screw-in base, it's not a push-in base, it's actually a bit of a strange one. And what I've found is that you have to push the coil in just right. Whoop, I dropped the coil. So yeah, you have to have the coil in just right and put a bit of force into it as well when you screw the coil in. Tighten it up that way. Because what I found is that when you were just screwing it in like you would do a standard one, finding the mod wasn't recognising the coil. It has to be really in there. But yeah, that is a quick rundown of what the TFV16 is. Let's take it back up top now and get talking about it. Welcome back. So that was the up close for the TFV16. It's a very, very interesting tank, especially with the capacity and the power for the coils. But as I said before, is it any good? We're getting to the pros and cons of it now, and the first pro for me is going to be the vapor production. How else can it be anything else? It's basically massive for vapor. If you just have a look at this. Really thick vapor coming off that 120 watt vape. And moving into the next pro, the flavour is fantastic as well. You are getting loads and loads of the complexity of the liquids come through. It's not just a quick blast of the initial inhale. You're getting a lot of it. It is absolutely incredible vape. And it's a very, very warm vape, I will say that. But yeah, you get, if you want something that's going to be pushing 120 watts, and this is going to be fantastic for the flavour and the vapour. Next pro for me is going to be the airflow. There's massive amounts of airflow, as you can hear. Very, very loud airflow. So it gives you that option to turn it down. Although, to be honest, the higher the wattage is going to be, I doubt that you're going to be turning that down to half full, because imagine it'd be a very hot vape. Next pro is going to be the capacity at 9 mils. Again, absolutely incredible. It will last you a long time. Juice consumption as well for this tank for 120 watts. It's fantastic. I haven't seen this drink the liquid half as much as I would expect it to at that wattage. You are going to be filling it up a few times a day, like you would imagine, but I wouldn't say I fill this up any more than vaping, say, a Falcon at 70 watts. You know, I'm filling it up only about 3 times a day. Granted, I'm going through a bit more liquid, but yeah, it's not drinking the liquid. You're not going to empty the tank in like 10 minutes, like some other power tanks that have come out in the past. Next pro, that top fill is nice and secure. It's your typical Smok top fill, so it would have been nice to have a bit of a automatic release, but yeah, it's secure. I mean, that doesn't come open in your pocket, as you can see. In fact, it's a replaceable A10 drip tip. That's a pro, and yeah. Now I'm focusing on the 0.12 coil, mainly because it's going to tie into a con, so I'll get to it in just a second. But yeah, the main bulk of this review is going to be based around this one coil, but the final pro then is going to be coil life, and coil life 2 weeks, still going strong. And you may have seen in the up close that coil wasn't black at all, and that's had plenty of liquid through it. I mean, still getting plenty of liquid to come through. Breaking time for these coils as well, I'd say, is about a tank. I will mention that. I think it's a little bit subdued at first, a little bit dry, but then after about a tank full, you will start getting the full experience. So yeah, we'll get into the cons of this now. And the first con for me is going to be the weight of it. Now, this ties into why I've only got one coil to bring to review. Mainly because I took this out. It was a tank I wasn't going to take out the house with it being so big. But took this out with the Drag 2. And it just... I think I had a spare mod in my pocket just in case these batteries died. And the sheer weight of this tank, I'd forgot to lock it. And it leaned on it like that. And it fired. So it completely burnt out the coil. The coil was still white, the cotton hadn't burnt at all, but it just went completely dead. So yeah, this is not a tank to really carry out and just throw in your pocket, unless you absolutely know that device is locked. It really does weigh down on a mod, and it will auto fire that way. So yeah, bit of a con. Next con for me is going to be, as I said before, I would have preferred that to be an automatic swing open. That would have been a nice touch for me. Some people might find it too much airflow with that. It's, as I said before, it's going to be a hot vape if you turn it down, but you know, if you don't want that much airflow, then that's going to be a con for you. Next con, I'm trying to think of one. I suppose the fact that the profile is going to be a little bit bigger. I think it's around 26, 27 millimeters. Hence why it's sitting right on the edge of this. So it's not going to go on a small mod that only houses up to 25 millimeter. So yeah, it certainly does fit the profile of being a power tank. Other than that, I can't think of any other real cons with this, because it vapes really, really well. The flavour's fantastic, vapor's fantastic, fantastic capacity, and coil performance, say, fantastic as well. So we'll get into the overall of this now. And overall, this really is the return of the king. If you thought the Prince was a bit of a letdown, this is not the Prince in any way, shape or form. It is designed to be such a power tank that you are not going to really find any coils coming out for it that drop below. I'd imagine they'll bring out a baby version of it in the future. Not to get confused with the TFV Mini, which came out with the Hot Kiss, and that went nowhere. But yeah, absolutely incredible tank this. I was really excited to try this. I was really excited when it turned up, and it hasn't let me down. This is a tank that I can see myself using for a long time, mainly because it just performs really well, and even at that wattage, you know, that blast of flavour, it definitely does come through. Now, the big question you're going to be asking, is this better than the Mesh Pro? It's obvious Smok releasing this, they're looking to take on the Mesh Pro, obviously the biggest selling tank of the past year, or the biggest power tank of the last year. And you know me, I'm not a fan of the Mesh Pro. I was back in when I first bought it, when I've revisited for the Sense Screen review. I didn't like it anymore. I'd really gone off it. So which one is better? I'd say still the Mesh Pro. Just the Mesh Pro. That's not a knock on this tank at all, because this tank is absolutely fantastic, but I think the intensity of the flavour coming from the Mesh Pro coils probably is just going to edge it for a lot of people. But yeah, if you want a big powerhouse tank, you know, I'm guessing there's going to be a 16 coil coming out for it in the future to go with the name. But yeah, if you want a really, really powerful but well-performing high wattage tank, then this is going to be for you. Now, just before we go, I'm going to turn this up right to the max of the coil. This is the first time I've done this, and I'm doing it on camera. There you go. So this is what 160 watts looks like with the TFV16. And I don't recommend it. I was getting pretty much the makings of a dry hit there, and very, very hot. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Coming up next week, I've got a kit review for you guys. I've got another pod in the pod series and another juice review. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay safe and keep vaping.